Welcome to Minukuu tutorials. In today's tutorial, we're going to look at how to resolve some file reading errors in R or RStudio. So among these errors include the file access error. The most common one is the error in file into brackets, file, RT. Then you see something like cannot open the connection. This is a recurrent error. We often confront when we are trying to import data into R. This could actually be due to a problem with your suffix. For instance, if it's a .csv file, but you made a mistake and you wrote .text. So we would look at a peculiar example and how to solve it. Another file reading error could be the working directory error. The most common one is the readChar error. We look at that one too. And then finally, we also look at how to set your working directory in R or RStudio, and finally, how to save and load or reload in that, for that matter, your workspace, so that you can continue from where you stopped. So first of all, let's deal with the RT error. Another way, you cannot open the connection, this kind of error. I would show you a peculiar example. Like I said, okay, let's say right here on my desktop I have a CSV file and I want to read this CSV file into R or RStudio. Let me proceed and show you the cannot open the connection error. Okay, so if I want to import this file into CSV, what do I mean if I want to import this CSV file into R, all I have to do is to right click on it, then I click on properties, then I click on security, and then I have the full file path here for me. I just select the file path, then copy it. All right, and now we come to our RStudio and come and use the CSV command. Since it's a CSV file, so I could name the data set data is equal to read.csv. Okay, then into quotations, into parentheses, then we open the quotations and then we paste the file path that we copied. So we simply paste it by Control V, and we've pasted it. Now let me change, because in R, we usually use the /, but in Windows we use the backslash. So we have to remove all the backslashes and put /. Okay, so right now we finished with our command. Let me run it to import our data set. All right, so I've succeeded in doing that. If I want to see my data, let me print it. For instance, print into brackets data. Sorry, here it goes. So we have our data set right here being imported. As you can see, we have it here. Now let's assume by mistake, I don't know for what reason, probably you decided to displace this particular file. Maybe you created a folder somewhere. So I'm just trying to create a scenario. So you've created a folder and maybe you've named this folder OK. So within the folder OK, you've just decided that, okay, I'll try. You want to send all your, maybe you are trying to clear your desktop, for instance. So you decided to move this particular CSV file that we imported earlier on. You decided to move it into, let's say, a new folder known as OK. So right now the file, your CSV file, which is book 1, is no longer on a desktop, but it's still on the desktop, but in a folder called OK. So when you try to import your data set once again, or let's try importing the data set this time around and see what happens. If I should execute a command, let's see what happens. It gives us this error. Let me zoom it for you to see clearly. You'll see this error right here. Error in file, whatever RT cannot open the connection. You see what I'm talking about? So this is simply because we've changed the location of the file. So now that we've changed the location of the file, automatically the file path has changed. You know, I don't want to confuse you, but it's obvious. As you can see, like we've now the name of our file, our CSV file is what? Is book. So book.csv. This is a CSV file. Now we decided to do what? We decided to send this file. Initially it was on the desktop, but now we've moved it into a folder called OK. However, this file path doesn't contain OK. So this is a possible reason why you could have this particular error. Another possible reason could be, for instance, let's assume the file was still on the desktop. Let's bring it back to the desktop. Sorry. The file is still on the desktop, as you can see, but in trying to load it or in trying to read it into R, it's actually a CSV file. If you want to know why it's a CSV file, as you can see, if we should open this file with a block notepad, for instance, if I should open it with notepad, let's see what happens. You see that it's a comma separated values file. The values are delimited by comma, as you can see. This is why we call it a CSV file. Now, if you want to know into details, you can right click on it as usual. Then you click on properties. When you click on properties, you will see the file type over here. When you click on, let's say, security, you see the termination of the file. You see it's a .csv file. Okay, so let's assume the suffix CSV, we've made a mistake here in reading the file. The file is actually on the desktop, but we set .text, for instance, .text. So instead of CSV, we decided to add .text. Let's see what happens. You see, it's a similar error once again. So this is a problem related to what? File access. We decided to import a text file and R cannot access the text file. So this is another possible reason why it will give you an error. It will give you the same error. Another possible, so I said the first one has to do with the location of the file. We've looked at that. And then the second one has to do with maybe the suffix. If it's a .csv file, in your file path, you must put .csv. So still based on the location, as I said, in case you change the location of the file, then you have to make sure that you copy the right file path. You understand? So let's assume we've decided to drag this file back into the OK file again. So there's no problem importing or reading the file from the OK folder, but we must copy the right folder or the right file path, because that's the directory for R to read the data. So let's open it. We have to open the folder, and then we have to what? Let me take it once again in case it's not clear. Let me zoom. So right now we've kept our file into our CSV file into a folder called OK. So we cannot use the original file path for when the file was found on the desktop. It's not just about desktop and folder, it could be anywhere. So what that means is if the file was on the desktop and you decide to put it in a D drive, you have to make sure you open the D drive once again and copy, excuse me for that. Okay, you have to make sure you open the D drive and then copy the file extension from the D drive. In our case, the file was on the desktop. We decided to put it in what? A file in a folder called OK. So we have to copy the file extension from the OK file or the OK folder, not we cannot use the desktop file extension for the interruption. So if I have to right click on it and then click on properties, and then I'll come and copy click on security, and you have the full file path over here. So just copy it. And now, as you can see, look at the difference. Now we have this extension added, OK, here. This OK signifies that the file is no longer on the desktop as it used to be, but right now it's in a folder called what? OK. So this is very, very important. And that's why when we try to use the what should I say, the initial file path when it was on the desktop, and to open it now that it's in the folder called OK, it's not working. So let's now enter the command once again, and you see, so that you see the difference. So let me put this actually a CSV file. Let's assume it's still a CSV file. Now let's enter another command. Let's say data1 read.csv into brackets. Let me paste the file path, for instance. Then you see I think the difference is clear. Okay, so as you can see here, we have OK here. OK signifies that the name of the file is book1. The suffix is a CSV file, and it's found in a folder called OK. The folder is located on the desktop, then followed by the username, which is Sandong Minukuu. That's the username of my PC. And here, that is how the file path is. So now that we've copied the right file path, indicating that the file is contained in a folder called OK on the desktop, we wouldn't have this error again. So let me execute it. What is it telling me? It's saying file and whatever. It's a .csv file. I don't know why this error again. Read.csv. Excuse me, let me look at the desktop. Where is the file? It's found in OK. Exactly. I don't know why it should be giving us an error. Let's take it again. It's saying cannot open file in whatever. Let me see. What? Error in file RT. This is weird because right now we've copied the right file path. It's supposed to work. I don't know. Let me take it once again. I don't know. Let me think there's something wrong somewhere. Properties, security. Then we copy the file path. Then we come over here. Come and paste it here. Okay, now let me change the file. What do we call it? Distance. It's supposed to work because, okay, I think we probably made a mistake somewhere. I don't know. Now let me select this and execute. Here it goes. So it has worked perfectly because right now we have the right file path, indicating that the CSV file book1 is contained in a folder called OK. It's on the desktop, you know. So I think we've dealt with the subject already. We said when it has to either do with the suffix. If it's a CSV file, you must make sure you copy the right file path, and it should be CSV. You don't have to put .text. Secondly, the location. In case you change the location, you have to go for the right file path, right from where from the location of the file, not the initial file path. And sometimes it might not just be, you might not observe this problem straight away. Sometimes you succeed in importing your data, but along the line you make a mistake. For instance, after importing the data set, you've imported your data set correctly without any problem. If I should say print data, as you can see, it works perfectly. But sometimes you might not get this error at the beginning of the importation. You might have imported a data set, but along the line you try to do something with the data set. You try to make some alterations. For instance, let's assume I want to use, let's say, number here as the row names. So instead of having the default numbers here 1 2 3, I want to replace this one by the first column. So I want to use the first column as to name my rows. So to do this, I simply have to add, let's say, row.names is equal to column 1. But before doing that, maybe after I imported the data set, I was working. Then all of a sudden, I went to the desktop, and unknowingly, now that the file is found in OK, I probably sent the file elsewhere. Maybe I dragged it back onto the desktop. Unknowingly, for one reason or the other, I decided to put the file. I've changed the location of the file. Then maybe I've come back here and I'll now want to add row.names. Sorry. So maybe I'll just come over here and maybe I want to specify that column 1 should be used as my row names. So I'll come and write comma, then I'll say row.names is equal to 1, for instance. If I should execute it, it will give me an error. Why? Simply because right now the CSV file is no longer contained in the OK file with OK folder. We decided to drag it and send it back elsewhere on the desktop again. So I was supposed to put the command here, row.names is equal to 1. If I want, let's say, since the file is now on the desktop, but I still maintained this one as if it's still in the OK file. So even though I've already imported my file, when I try to make some alterations, in case I've changed the location of the file, it will still give me an error. So if I execute this, the same error. But let's assume right now I decide to come and erase this OK, because we've brought the file back here. So if I should come and erase the OK here and just leave it, so right now what that means, see that it's now the same as the first one. So it should work this time around because the file is right on the desktop, just on the desktop, but not in the OK folder. If I should execute it, see that it has worked perfectly. And if I should print the data, you realize that R has used data 1. Actually, this data 1. So if I should print data 1, you realize that R has actually used the first column, which is this. It has actually used the first column as now our row names. You see, so it has worked. So in a nutshell, this is how it works. In case you've imported your data set, anytime you have to work on the same data set, and then you have to quote the file path, make sure that the file path that you are quoting corresponds with the actual location of the file. I hope this helps, and thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe so that you would watch the rest of the videos. In the second part of the video, we will now look at the working directory error known as readChar, and in the subsequent sessions we also look at how to set your working directory in R or RStudio. Then finally we look at how to save and load your workspace. Please subscribe once again, and see you in the next video. You just look right below in the description, you'll find all these other videos: how to change your working directory, set your working directory, how to resolve this error, the readChar error, and how to save and load your R workspace. I hope this first part of the video